Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of our Community Access. This week we went to Kingsbury School for a flag ceremony. Then, look at my soldier right over here. That's Terry Stiles getting ready for Honeybee Story. And finally, it's George from Wojo's Garden, all today on our Community Access. Welcome back. Kingsbury School has become a charter school and had an opening day flag raising ceremony on September 3rd. Let's watch.
In 1953, 60 years ago this very month, a brand new neighborhood school named Kingsbury opened in a small one-room schoolhouse across the street. You can still see today on the right side of the building, over there, the original schoolhouse that opened 60 years ago this month. For 59 consecutive years, that school grew and flourished as a community beacon of academic excellence. Today, on what would have been its 60th anniversary, we pay tribute to the pioneers who started that school by opening a school of our own, Kingsbury Country Day School, a charter school academy. To recognize our connection with the Kingsbury of the past, the American flag will be raised up the flagpole in front of the one-room schoolhouse, after which the school bell will toll across the street. In response, our school bell shall toll, and then the American flag will be raised on our campus. If you have a hat on, please remove it, and let's all face the original schoolhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, esteemed faculty, board members, and honored guests, welcome to the 2013 opening day ceremony for Kingsbury Country Day School. I'd like to thank Noah Phillips of the 8th grade and first grader Clayton Keith for conducting the ceremony across the street. And now I'd like to call upon 3rd grader William Rice and 4th grader Parker Scott to please raise a flag on this campus. Boys and girls, it is now time for your academic adventure to begin. Be brave, be curious, and explore the unknown. Your lives as Kingsbury kids begins now. Enjoy your first day of what promises to be a great adventure. Welcome to Kingsbury Country Day School.
Congratulations, Kingsbury. Next up, Terry and I went to the Addison Township to check on honeybees, and we have found a wealth of knowledge in bees. With the story is our reporter, Terry Stiles.
Bill, the thing I love about working at OCTV and I love about my job is I get to do different things every time I go out the door. And today we're in Addison Township. I'm with Mark Spencer, who is one of our local beekeepers, and he's going to let me tag along while he checks out the hive. So how often, you're just going in to check the hives, or how often do you visit your hives?
I come by probably about 3 to 4 times a week just to check them out.
Okay.
I look at the entrance of the hive and see what they're bringing in, to see if they're bringing pollen or see what type of activity there is. You can see the pollen on the backs of their legs if they're bringing in pollen.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
If they're bringing in a lot of pollen, it's probably because they're producing brood, because that's what they feed the brood is the
Okay.
pollen, that's their protein. and just to check the level of activity and see what's going on. I also like to listen to the hives. There's nothing scientific, I just like it. So you just puff a little bit of smoke into the entrance.
Oh.
He just fell, he's okay. Or she's okay. Actually, all the workers you see moving in and out are all
Female?
females.
Ah.
The only things that are male are the drones.
Okay, so there's a queen
One queen, usually.
and the drones, and there's very few drones. They're males, and they're there strictly for what?
They're just for mating purposes. That's all that they do. They don't gather food. They don't do anything other than that. This time of the year, they're actually busy evicting all the drones.
Oh,
You'll see
really?
workers at the entrance actually biting and dragging them out
Ah.
because it's past the time of the year where they can productively actually
They're done mating
breed.
for
Yeah,
the
they're done
season.
mating for the season. It's too late. You
So-
can't start a new hive. It's too close to winter. So the drones just consume resources.
Oh, right. So they don't need that.
Yep, so they get rid of these. This is just the inner cover. The other part was the top cover.
Okay.
We just put these aside for now. Trying to be nice and gentle. You gotta check and make sure the queen's not in a weird place. She's
Okay.
almost never in these places. Like, these are all workers.
Okay.
They're usually young workers. They're just getting away from the
Now,
rest
how do
of
you
the-
discern the queen from the rest of the bees?
Well, hopefully we can see her, but we don't normally always see her, and I got a lot of boxes right now. So what we normally look for is signs, like is there eggs? Because if there's eggs, that means she laid them within 3 days. So you
Oh.
have a productive queen. But if you can see her, she's longer.
Oh.
Like the drones, I'll probably be able to find a drone still. They're fat. They're big and they're fat, and they have no stinger. They can't sting. So you can actually play with
Didn't know
drones.
that. Wow.
The queens are larger, they're longer, and they walk differently than all the other bees. They'll walk right across the frames. They do different activities, so you can usually see them cutting through the other bees. And they'll have an entourage, a group of bees around
Oh,
them, taking
really?
care of them, passing pheromones around and feeding them.
Oh.
This top box was supposed to be for, these are honey supers. So far they haven't done much with them.
And the supers is actually where they make the combs and store the honey for food, correct?
Yeah, these are empty frames. I don't think they did anything. No, they still haven't done anything. This is wax foundation. It's actually made from beeswax, and they pre-print the pattern on
Oh.
for the
okay.
bees, so just to help them. I mean,
Sure.
they know how to draw their own comb, but it's just to make it more uniform.
Yeah.
And but they're not building anything up here. This is the honey that we would normally keep for consumption, is in these.
Okay.
The lower boxes are normally what they would use. There's people that breed queens, and they try hard to make sure that they're healthy and strong, like they're properly bred, so they make
okay.
really good bees. This is one of the stickiest frames I've ever had to pull out. And come on. But they can produce their own. Like this one did lose their queen this year,
Oh.
and they did produce their own queen.
Oh,
that's
so
why it's
that's
so
a healthy
sticky.
box, right?
Wow. Okay,
Nice.
this is a honey frame. Mostly.
They're very busy.
So you can see the white capping. That's all sealed
Yeah.
honey.
Oh.
And then the wet ones, that's nectar that they're drying out, making into honey.
Oh. Okay.
You can see how many of them are drinking it up. You like that one on the top there?
Right.
It's trying to, they're doing that thing. They're trying to suck up as much honey as they can. So you got to be careful not to kill the queen. So if she's on these frames, so that's why you move them away from each other before you pull them
And
out.
sliding them out.
Because if she's in between them, you can roll her and kill her.
Now, how long could they survive without a queen?
Well, that one box still had quite a few bees, and that was about a month and a half. You can see all the larvae. See in the bottom part of that? The little white curled up things?
Yeah, wow.
They go from egg to larva, and then they cap it. There's not many cap cells. The rest of that's honey on the top. But you can see all those bees. I don't think I see any eggs in this one. So the queen's probably not up here.
Oh, that's a lot of bees.
It is. And I don't see any drones up here either. Almost every time I came, you'd find a lot of drones. But they've been very
So they're
busy
kicking
getting
them
rid
out.
of them. I feel bad for the drones. And you can see all the different colors. Like some are very dark, some are very
Yeah,
bright.
They do look very different.
The queens will mate up with up to 20 drones, and each drone carries DNA from different queens. And so depending on the breed of the bee, you'll get a different mix of bees. Some bees are better at one function than another, and so by doing that, you get a very diverse hive, which is very healthy for the hive. Some are better at defense, some are better at making honey.
Now talk about the honey. You hear of wildflower honey and clover honey, and in an area like this, in Addison Township, there's so many diverse plants.
Yeah.
So how are we all just to expect just wildflower honey from this area, or do the bees, are they partial to one thing or another?
They can be. Like, let's say you live in an area that has tons of clover. And if you know when the clover blooms, and if you put those honey supers on and the bees are ready to make honey, and you put them on during the whole clover bloom, you can produce something which is probably clover honey.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be 100% clover honey to call it clover honey, just mostly.
Okay.
And there, I'm still trying to find the queen. I can't see her anywhere. Now these have a bunch of empty cells. I'm trying to see if there's eggs. There is. If you look in the very bottom of those middle cells, you'll see these little white rice grainy looking things sticking straight up.
Oh yeah.
Those
yeah,
are
yeah,
eggs.
Yeah, okay.
So that means the queen has been on this frame within 3 days.
Oh, wonderful.
You can see an emerging drone, actually. That's a drone cell. Excited when I saw that for the first time.
So there's benefits with honey, excuse me, coming out of your hive,
Yes.
as well as the propolis.
Yes.
And what is the purpose of royal jelly, and what is it?
Royal jelly is what the bees feed the queens. Like when the
Oh, hence its name.
Yes.
That makes sense.
when the workers can create the royal jelly, they create it. They feed it to the other bees as well, but only for a couple days, I believe. The queens, they fill the queen cups, which are a special large cell they make, and they fill it with royal jelly, like in excess. And they're fed exclusively royal jelly instead of pollen and honey and stuff.
Because of the nutrients.
Because of the nutrients, and it also kicks in the hormones necessary to produce a queen. A queen is just a worker that's been fed royal jelly, exclusively. And so her instincts change, her behavior
Sure.
changes, everything changes. It makes her into something else.
What makes them choose a particular queen?
We don't know.
Ah,
They'll take an egg, well, not an egg, they'll take a very young larva, within a few days old, and they'll choose a few of them, actually, when they need a queen, and then they'll feed her exclusively royal jelly, and they'll produce a bigger cell. It's this peanut-shaped cell. If I see one, I'll show it to you. But I did see some eggs, which means even if I never see the queen, I know that there was a queen in here at least 3 days
working in
ago,
there. Okay.
so she's probably here. Sometimes the mother queen will have a daughter queen that's supposed to replace her, but for whatever reason it doesn't happen. They don't. Usually the daughter queen will kill the mother queen,
Oh,
but for some reason it doesn't occur, probably because her pheromones are too low, so she's not recognized really as an active queen, which is why they made a new queen anyhow. And because of this, she's probably not attracting the daughter queen to kill her, even though she might be laying some eggs still. So they'll coexist for, we don't know how long, but they'll coexist for a while. And but that's a fairly rare thing. That doesn't normally happen.
oh, it's not something you can do on purpose.
Well, you can. Like, you could have two hives and combine them, put a queen excluder between the two.
Ah,
Then technically you'd have a two-queen hive. And sometimes there's reasons for that, but normally not. Now, as it approaches fall, she may actually slow down her laying because they don't want too many bees going into winter, because you got to feed them all.
oh, right.
So they'll produce a brood that is designed to last the winter. Usually,
Aren't they brilliant?
yeah, usually worker bees only last about, oh, here's eggs. Not a lot. Usually worker bees only last about 4 weeks. About 4
Oh,
weeks.
really?
Yeah,
But yet the queen can live up to 7 years.
yeah, she's
Amazing.
taken care of, she's fed royal jelly, she's not out getting eaten by things, and she's not
right.
working herself to death.
Right.
But the workers only last about 3 to 4 weeks. In the winter, they produce a different type of worker bee that's fatter, and they can last like 3 to 4 months, I think it is. So they don't produce a lot of new bees in the winter. They work off of the ones they produced in the fall. And then in the spring, they do a spring buildup where they'll start producing a lot more. and they'll explode with bees really quickly,
Amazing.
if they're healthy enough to do so. This cell got messed up, so they reconstructed it.
Wow.
It's usually not desirable because it's not as consistent, but it's not a big deal. So this is really heavy. Like if you want to, you can hold this. I'm just going to make sure there's no queens running around. There's the queen. We found her right there.
Oh yeah, wow, what a huge difference. She's a busy girl too. She's right square in the middle.
You can almost hear the bees. They got louder.
Yeah, you're right.
It's because we're messing with her frame. They're not gonna.
They know where she's at.
It's not an angry thing. It's a nervous thing. That's our queen. She's responsible for all these bees.
Wow, she's huge.
Yeah. She's an egg-laying machine. That's all she does.
And so that's what she's doing right now, is just looking for another place to lay eggs.
Right now, she's just trying to get away from us. So you'll see when you smoke them, they'll go down into the frames again. I just don't want them to get too upset while I'm putting it back together.
Sure, of course.
I think they're upset because I was messing with the queen a little.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to put the frames all the way back together because if you leave them space too far, they'll fill that space.
Oh.
So you want to, everything's designed in here to have the right, what's called bee space, so they build out the comb properly.
Now there's different types of hives, right? There's the top drop, is that what it's called?
Well,
The drop frames?
This is called a Langstroth,
Uh-huh.
which is what most commercial beekeepers will use. And it's the easiest one to maintain, take apart, expand. It's the most productive for honey. Then there's what's called a top bar,
Top bar, okay.
which was actually designed for African beekeepers
Really?
because they needed something cheap that was easy to produce. And they were using log hives, where they just hollow out a hive. So it's an imitation log hive, but you can maintain it. It's really good for southern climates, but some people have figured out how to use them in northern climates. Get out of there.
Now how did you get your hive started? Did you purchase the first group?
When I got the idea to start doing this, the first thing I did is I went online. That's where I do everything. And I found, this is called burr comb. It's comb that isn't where it belongs. I'm just trying to get it out of the way before I push that other frame in. And I found some catalog companies, and I started learning like what the different equipment pieces were off the catalog companies. And then I ordered some magazines, and I started contacting bee clubs. And what I ended up doing, you can buy this stuff through catalogs online, but what I ended up doing mostly was there's a local guy that I bought that makes equipment. So I ended up buying this stuff off of him.
Oh, nice.
And
So you're keeping your hive local from start to finish.
as
That's
much as I
fantastic.
can,
Yeah.
I ordered some stuff. I got a company that I like in Kentucky called Kelly Bees, and I ordered some equipment from them that they either didn't have locally or they just had it a lot cheaper.
Now what made you get started in this?
Well, I've always liked bees. I've never had a problem with them. And off my finger. And I was at work one day, not enjoying myself, and I was thinking I really wanted to do something different. I really like bees. I like the whole idea of it, and I wanted to produce something that was kind of good for the family. And so I started thinking about it, and I came up with some ideas, and then started moving forward on it. Started thinking of company names, what we'd make, because with the wax and that, you can make candles with the propolis and stuff. You can make tinctures.
Right.
For medicinal things, you can do honey, of course. I also am considering making bee equipment like the boxes and that, because I work at a machine shop.
Ah.
So I thought that would be interesting. And
What would you recommend for people that are interested? How to get started? Should they get started? How much time will it take? Do they plan on?
right now is about the perfect time of the year to start. Because if you're going to do it in the spring, you got a lot to, well, I mean, there's a lot to learn, but it's not a lot to learn because you can find a lot of help.
Locally.
Yeah. Unfortunately, almost every time you go in the hive, you're going
You
to take out
squish
some
one.
bees.
Yeah.
I hate that sound. You'll put the
Yeah.
box together and you're crunch.
Crunch.
I try not to. You'll see people that have done this for a long. Oh, I'm sorry, getting started. So you.
It's okay.
Go online. There's a couple different bee magazines. One's called Bee Culture, and I can't remember the name of the other one right now. And those are great for information. Great to kind of get inspired to get started. And then start reading up. There's some really good books on it. It would be really good to start on as well. And then find a bee club. We have Seven Ponds Bee Club, which is up at Seven Ponds
sure.
Nature Center.
In Dryden.
They have a nature center. Well, not the they have an observation hive. They meet once a month.
Nice.
They have different social things. The people are awesome. We've gotten tons of help. There's bee conventions
Really?
where you can buy equipment, listen to speakers,
Sure.
and the people are just phenomenal. They're usually, a lot of them are naturalists, a lot of them are concerned about the environment, but they're not like crazy environment usually. You know?
I'm trying not to freak out. Do I have one on the outside or the inside of this net that's back here?
It's gone.
Okay. I don't mind if he's on the outside.
She was on the outside, but she was.
Or she, sorry.
But she was.
Have a tendency.
She was in a fold, so it looked like she was on the inside. Yeah, you don't want to be in your veil normally. That's not a comfortable thing to have. You can see like this one right here.
Yeah.
If you see the very tip of her abdomen is pointing down and she's fanning,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
they produce, they have glands all over them. One of their glands is this one, and they'll fan and it blows a pheromone out,
Ah.
and the pheromone is an attractant. So they call it the come hither pheromone. It tells the other
right.
bees this is where to go, because we just tore it apart, so she's
They
kind of
need
marking
help.
this area.
Oh, got it.
But she's misguided because I'm about to drop a lid on it. This one's doing it too.
That's very cool. What an incredible world.
Oh yeah.
And so about how much of your time does this take? Or starting out if somebody was interested?
Other than reading in that, like a single hive or two hives, if you put a lot of time in, it's like an hour a week. But that's only for part of the year, because in the winter there's nothing to do other than get equipment ready and get ready for the next year. If you get around 100 hives, then you can actually produce enough where you can actually make quite a bit. You can make a lot of honey, a lot of wax, a lot of things. Those are that'll be some more time, but that's still called a sideline beekeeper, which is like a part-time thing normally. When you get about 250, 300, it starts to become a full-time job at that point.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because you figure to do a full inspection on this hive, if I worked it really quickly, it would still take me 20 minutes probably, 15, but if you have like 100 of those,
Yeah.
and then if you have a problem that you need to take care of, it just takes time. So you can see they're very docile. She's not even attempting to sting. She's just checking. We
Yeah,
just had her
I-
whole home. We had her home torn apart.
Right, and
And
she's still not freaking out. I
she's
had
not
one
freaking
on
out.
my foot for the last 10 minutes just hanging out there.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see a lot of beekeepers that won't even use a veil, gloves, anything. They'll just come out in their clothes. They'll tear it apart, do their work. You'll see bees climbing up their arms, and they just don't care.
Wow.
Or they'll just use a veil. And I've done that before too, just to experiment. But
Wow. Oh, good for you. You do have to be brave for this job.
And I tried it without smoke because in the bee club, the main guy there did it without smoke. But like I said, I didn't like and too many stayed on the edges of the frames. And
Right, yeah.
both ways are disruptive. It's how you want to
Yeah.
deal with it.
I
the
think
smoke
this
keeps
is,
them calm.
civilized for them. They seemed very calm. They were very polite hosts.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Bill, another great adventure for our community access. I learned so much today. Thank you so much for all your knowledge and allowing us to come in here and bother your bees. And you know, I'm normally nervous about bees. I'm learning to fall in love with them like you are. Thank you so much for having us here today.
You're welcome.
Bill, back to you. I'm going to go watch them some more.
Well, it's time for Wojo's Garden Center. Here's George.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Wojo's Greenhouse and Garden Center here in Ortonville. I'm George and it is one outstanding fall day. Bright and sunny, nice gentle breeze, And boy, do we have color here for you at Wojo's. First thing I want to talk about, though, is to protect your trees against the deer. We've got the vinyl tree guards that will save you a lot of aggravation in the long run. Right now is the time of year that the bucks are rubbing their antlers on the trees, and it's a very sad customer that comes back in and says, the buck rubbed on my tree and it killed it. It took all the bark off and there's nothing left. So these vinyl tree guards work very well. I also wanted to mention we have two products here that will also work to keep the deer away, liquid fence and Repelzol. Both of these products work very nicely. Also, if you're in the Lake Orion or Davison area, our stores have Plant Skid, which is another excellent product that works on the deer. I wanted to talk about fall being a time for pumpkins. And we're excited about the crop that we have coming in here. These pumpkins are locally grown just down the road here from Wojo's. Tom Middleton, longtime farmer in the Oxford area, grows our pumpkins for us, and he has come up with some real interesting varieties this year. We've got a trailer load in the back that we'll be bringing up for the weekend. But if you're looking for unique pumpkins or just the regular standard pumpkin for decorating your home for the fall, Wojo's is the place to come. I also wanted to share with you a special program we have coming here at Wojo's on Saturday, October 26th from 10 to 4. We have a sculpture that carves pumpkins. His name is John Bradshaw. He works at the Ace Hardware down in Ortonville. Some of you may see him in there. But during the fall time is when he comes into his own as a beautiful artist, making these very unique sculpture on pumpkins. So he'll be here at the store the Saturday before Halloween, and you want to mark your calendar to come in and watch John do his work. When we take a look around the annual retail area, I don't think you'll find a finer crop of mums than what we have here at Wojo's. We have smaller mums. We have mums in a 2-gallon size. Also, if you're looking for a spectacular mum to fill an area near your porch or entryway area, we've got various sizes. And as we even have hanging baskets here. So as we think of the fall, as we think of a time of mums, you might say that mum is the word here at Wojo's. Spectacular colors coming into their presence right now. The buds are opening up for a dynamic color. So I'm going to have Bill pan here for just a moment, and we're going to go out and show you some of our perennial color.
Well, that's all the time for this week. We hope you enjoyed our program. You can tell your friends that they can watch us on occtv.org or watch us on Facebook and YouTube. So, for our reporter and editor, Terry Stiles, I'm Bill Service, and you have a great, great week.
Hi, I'm Betty White, and I'd like you to meet my friend here. This is Red. He's a puppy with a very special job to do. To be a guide dog for someone who is blind. Together they'll travel the world in safety and with confidence. Guide Dogs for the Blind provide their services free of charge, thanks to the generosity of people like you. Please visit guidedogs.com to learn how to help today. Hi, I'm Betty White, and I'd like to share some news about an exciting project at Guide Dogs for the Blind. Guide Dogs for the Blind is building a new state-of-the-art student residence hall. It's where the magical partnership between someone who's blind and his new guide dog begins. Join me in helping them build a bright new future. Learn more online at guidedogs.com.